Welcome to Inside Abode, ladies and gentlemen. How are y'all doing? I am your host, Dave Jones, and I have two special guests with me today. We're going to talk about some really dope topics around sports and whatnot. But before I get into my guest, I'm going to ask you to hit that subscribe button. It's easy. It's free. We're trying to just put you on game, give you all kinds of free gems in the real estate space, in the investment space, in the life space. We just want to make sure that you're good. All right. So hit that subscribe button. It's free. And we'll go from there. We have taken a little bit of break. So we're back. We're back for this season. And I'm trying to, be more consistent. But, just full transparency. It's hard having a podcast and go dropping every week. I'm just going to be honest with you. So sometimes I need a break too. So I apologize for the delay. I know some of y'all out there listen, but now we're back. And we're about to drop some really dope episodes. I'm really excited about what we have coming up. So for today, one of my guests has spent 6.5 years with Windermere Abode. They're selling in Vegas and in Washington. And he's also a relocation specialist and many other things, many other ventures and many other experiences that he brings to the table. Derrik Shockman, how are you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm in the Vegas heat. It's a cool 102 today. A little bit of thunderstorm, so wasn't able to get to the pool, but I'll get that this weekend.
He said 102. You trying to flex on us a little bit? What's up with that?
No, that's the coolest 102 you'll ever be in. It can be 110 out. It's that dry heat, man.
yeah, it is. It is dry. It is dry. Pause. But all right, my next guest, Jay Dam. He's been with us for 1.5 years. Owner of Dam Performance in cryotherapy and recovery. Founder of Scorched Ice, and former pro athlete overseas as well. So, Jay Dam, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing real good. I'm up at Dam Performance right now. Just cool. I wish I was in Vegas too, Shock. So
it's hard to compare, man.
Shock like to rub it in our face sometimes, like with the whole Vegas thing. He stay rubbing it in our face, man. Come in with them short shorts on and trying to show his legs and all that. No.
Yeah, but you know what? Hey, here's the thing. Washingtonians, they'll cry all spring about the weather. Yeah. Then they get 2 85-degree days, and they're like, nah, it's too hot outside. And I'm like, all right, man. Like, you can't believe it.
Nah, I know. And I get it. And that's why it's like, I got this rule. Like, I'm not an AC. Like, I don't turn the AC on during these months because I just go ahead and just sweat and just deal with it because I already know it's going to be cold for you. Y'all hear me complaining because if it's in the 60s, it's cold to me. So for real. My family. Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, before we get into the topic, how y'all doing? What's top of mind for y'all, man? How y'all fellas doing?
Doing great. Can't complain.
Oh yeah.
Anything on top of mind, athletes wise? What's going on in the news? What you been reading? Anything?
Man, I mean, right now I'm just waiting for these Olympics. I'm waiting for them. I'm gonna be up all night watching this stuff.
Yeah.
Last run for LeBron, KD, Steph, all them guys. So gotta cherish this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I like the Olympic years because baseball, when it's only baseball in the summer, it gets a little slow. We'll just call it that. So,
yeah. No, the Olympics are gonna be dope. But one thing, man, I need to see what times they're coming on because like right now they're having they had a game in Abode yesterday and it was at 9 o'clock and I'm like, I can't do that. Like we literally have our meeting at that time. Like it's impossible for me to watch, and then I go try to watch the replay and it ain't nowhere. So,
exactly.
Anyway. They'll be better when the Olympics come on, I bet. But yeah, I think here's my hot take for the Olympic team, man. I think Joel Embiid, like AD's the best big man in the world, in my opinion. And Joel Embiid looks kind of suspect with the team, man. He's like a plotter. Sure. I think he's too big and too slow for this team, personally.
Yeah, he's definitely too slow playing with all those guys. AD looks good when he's not like the first option, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like, he looks really good playing with. It's probably easy playing with guys like Steph and, all those guys. It probably makes the game easy. I mean, it's catch lobs, get boards. You're going to get open shots because everyone's chasing the other defender. So I think he looks real good playing with those guys.
Yeah. Agreed. And he's a good defensive. Like I think he does some things defensively. Like I saw him close out on a guy in the corner for a 3, and he had to X out to the opposite wing, and he got there, and it was I forget the dude's name who was Nemhard. It was against was it against Australia, I think, and he closed out to the Canada. He closed out to the opposite wing. I was like, Joel ain't doing that. Joker ain't doing that. Giannis might be able to do that, but he doesn't want to, and I've never seen him hustle that hard on defense. Anyway, like AD's special, man.
How you think Drew fits in with everyone?
Oh, I love Drew. I think we got to have a conversation whether he's the best point guard in the league.
Are you taking him over guys like Kai?
He got a championship with 2 different teams in the last 3 to 4 years, so I'm taking him over everybody as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, I think
that's just me.
I think it was weird picking up Derek White over guys like Jaylen Brown and a couple other guys. D White went ahead and got him a nice little Olympics pass. He got a nice little all expenses paid trip to the Olympics, best seat in the house. No, for real. For real. Hey, I feel him though. I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, man, we pose a question for this podcast, and we're, this is a topic that we're all passionate about, and it's something that we talk about all the time, which is pro athletes investing in real estate, or pro athletes investing in general. I think that it's something that that we're all passionate about, and we're gonna do a few more things around this subject. But according to a Sports Illustrated report, 78% of former NFL players have gone bankrupt or are under financial stress within 2 years of retirement. And an estimated 60% of former NBA players are broke within 5 years after their careers end. That's crazy to think about. Like, those numbers are staggering. 78% of former NFL players and 60% of former NBA players. So, J-Dan, we mentioned, and we'll get to Derek as well on this one too. I want to get your take on this one too, Derek. From your transition, like you played pro hoop, and then in your transition to real estate, what were like some key lessons about financial management that you think are crucial for athletes to, like, pro athletes, whether they're playing overseas or in the league or wherever?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just thinking ahead for the future. Like, especially like being overseas, like you're so caught up in the now, like where am I going to be right now? You're out of the country. You're just focused on that one season. You're not thinking ahead. And then when the season is over, you're thinking about just that next year you're doing. I think getting over to the real estate side of it and understanding that is like, I'm not thinking about, obviously I have yearly goals, but I'm thinking about 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Like, I'm thinking about what it's going to look like when my kids are, in their 20s and how I can take care of them just on the decisions I make now. So I think the biggest difference was thinking of, like, right now, like today's workouts, today's games, you're so focused on what's going on that week. And now it's like, I'm literally thinking of 2025, 2026, 2030, and just thinking ahead with longevity, really.
Yeah. And I know it's hard to do. Shock, what are your thoughts on that? What do you think?
Well, I mean, in regards to real estate, I mean, as an investment for an athlete, especially with that number of everybody, or not everybody, but a good amount of them going bankrupt. I mean, real estate, people hate on this, but like, it's not liquid, right? So like, you buy a property, it's hard to get the money out of that property, right? So it's like, it's a pretty safe investment. We can go into just the appreciation from it, but the fact that, like, it's not like a stock, right? Or it's not like crypto even, like where you can cash it and get your money back. So it's like, if athletes are having this trouble of, that temptation of, spending their cash that they have, real estate's not a bad investment because it just sits there, and it's hard to get it out unless you sell it. So it's not the easiest thing to sell a house. So I think it could hedge against that, like, that, like J-Dan was saying, that future you're trying to build. It can hedge because it's like, it's not just an easy press of a button, calling up your stockbroker and saying, hey, cash it out.
No, yeah, for sure. I think that the biggest thing with athletes is, like, the hardest part of getting in investing is having that capital right up front anyway, though. So, like, I feel like there's different methods that a lot of pro athletes don't understand, where if they do, like, buy, update, refinance, and rent it out, you're still holding that property, and they have the capital to do it. So they're putting it into something. And now when they are done, if they do it even 1 or 2 houses a year, now when you're done after 10 years, you're sitting good. You might not be making that 100 million depending on who it is, but you're sitting good. You don't got to work and stress anymore, at least.
Yeah, I think creates that additional, a lot of athletes after they're done, what do they struggle with? Income, right? Income coming in, maybe. So it's like you produce that, you get that income property, and you have that cash flow. So, like, especially with them, because they're going to be able to buy better deals, to be honest, because they're going to have more cash to basically either put more down, renovate, like you said, J-Dam, find the fixer, build that equity up, build that cash flow in. It's just, it's like an income stream for them in a couple of different ways: appreciation and the cash flow.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you don't got to hit a home run too, right? Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I think that might be something that people are thinking about when they're doing this. Like, nah, it just got to be a single or a double. Like, it doesn't have to be nothing crazy.
I think that's huge too, because I feel like, if I was a pro athlete and I had a lot of cash, let's just say, right? I think the temptation to be like, oh, I'm going to go buy a 20-unit apartment building. That sounds like amazing, right? But like, what if you just buy a few single family houses, or a duplex or a fourplex, right? Like, I mean, just get a start. I mean, I think, one, you're going to be able to diversify, whether that's different types of houses, different markets. But yeah, I think it's going to be less cash up front too. So I don't know. There's different ways to do it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then there's details on like how to do it, what's a good deal, what should you invest. I mean, we'll get into that later in other podcasts, like, and get into the nitty gritty in terms of what that looks like. But yeah, I think that's huge. Derrik, so considering like you're in 2 markets, so just the distinct difference between like Las Vegas and Washington, what unique opportunities or challenges do you see that are presented to athletes or even entertainers that are looking to invest in the real estate space?
So in Vegas, like, the biggest like opportunity I see is not like in Washington, where it's like, all right, you can buy a duplex, a fourplex. We have those here too in Las Vegas, but they're just not as prevalent. There's more single family homes. But what I see a big opportunity in is like the higher income rentals. Not just luxury either. Like, so like, for example, there's been an 82% increase in high income rentals in Vegas. So high income means like 150,000 or more, like, per year somebody's earning. They're opting to actually rent rather than buy. So that's huge. So that's rents in the 4,500, 7,000 a month range, which is pretty damn good. Yeah. So, and then what's crazy too is, like, we had the Super Bowl here in February, right? And that was the first time I realized that there's a super luxury rental market here. And I should have known this before, but I saw like a couple news articles, like there was a couple like leases going out for like $100K a month. And I'm like, holy shit, like that's crazy, right? And so like today I was just like, I'm going to see how many rentals there are on the market for $10,000 a month, over $10,000 a month. It's like 58 rentals. And like the highest one right now is like $65K a month. And that's a lease. Like, that's nuts, right? So like, when you're buying a multi-million-dollar home, maybe it is a primary at first, but you probably won't have to sell that thing, because you're going to be able to find somebody that's like an entertainer or another athlete that's coming to town. As we know, athletes are transitional, to be able to rent it. So that's a very unique opportunity, I would say, here in Las Vegas.
You know what you just got me thinking about? That's a thing though too, because like, for example, my buddy who's in Bozeman, for example, like they own their house in another state, but they needed to rent, because they have another residence somewhere else. And and right away, you're not like just going to buy something right away. So you need to rent. And there's a whole little market that, and connections that you have within there that you use, or, real estate agents, there's a connection there, like, that might help. I don't know. I think you're onto something, man.
Well, and that's something else we can talk about too. I mean, Vegas is one of those places where, I think it would be cool for an athlete that comes here to buy a primary house, right? Because you have that option of, if you get traded or you re-sign, free agency, whatever, you can rent it out. But like, I think that's a topic for athletes too to consider, is like, to invest in real estate doesn't just mean buy a primary home. It could be just like, hey, you don't buy a primary home, you rent and you invest in real estate, right? So But when it comes to Vegas, because I could probably name 50 markets that I would say you shouldn't buy a primary home and you should buy rentals instead, right? But Vegas, it's one of those ones where it's like, no, you can get a dope ass house when you're here, and then if you get traded, you can rent that shit out.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that athletes should hold? Like, so if they have, like J-Dam, you think that they should hold if they, like, let's say that they get traded?
I think so. I mean, you might as well, unless you need the funds to put into something else. I mean, depending on which athlete and which contract, but I think that you should hold, and then you're going to have it on the back end. So if you're in LA, you buy a multi-million-dollar property there, you get traded to wherever. I mean, you might go back and use it anyway, but a lot of those guys are trying to buy stuff cash anyway. So, I mean, might as well. I've seen a lot of athletes buy stuff for $5 million, sell it for 15. So, I mean, if they were trying to sell it immediately, they're not getting, if they're there for one season or they're, every time they get traded, there's athletes that get traded 3-4 times per season. So if you have the capital and you're not, buying at the very, very top of your budget, I think that if, I mean, at the end of the day, it could be a win. You just bought 4 properties that year in 4 different states. So.
Damn.
And I was thinking when you were talking, J-Dam, it's not even just like Vegas. Like, for example, the Seattle area, like, the east side, and that's where a lot of the athletes purchase up there, right? I mean, there's so many hold opportunities even there because we got all the big companies, man. We got Microsoft, we got, Amazon. Those engineers, man, they'd be bringing it in. So, I mean, like, there's plenty of opportunities, and I like that holding idea if you can. And, it's going to be market dependent, I think. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you can hold, you can hold,
And I think it's even more than athletes too. Like, I met someone a couple months ago, and I mean, he played some like college football and stuff, but he ended up going military. So every 2 years, he's getting stationed somewhere else. Every time he gets stationed, he rents out his primary, buys one in a new house or in a new state. And now he's my age, and he's on his 5th property right now. And he said that, he's going to get stationed somewhere else in another 2 years. But he's like, no, I plan on, as soon as I'm done, selling all 6 of these properties and possibly just buying my dream house or, doing whatever he wants with it. But that happened because of him holding it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just building up your portfolio.
No, yeah, exactly.
What, for both of you, can you share like a success story of, and you kind of just did, of an athlete or entertainer that secured a real estate investment, and what made it successful and what can others learn from it?
Yeah. I mean, I think that story is one of the better ones, just because it's not, most people look at the athlete stories and it's like, oh, this guy bought it for 20 million and sold it for 25. But in terms of like being an athlete and doing a normal deal, like buying a $700,000 house and 3 to 5 years later, you're selling it for $1 million, or just having that equity, or say if you refinance, I think that story is one of the better ones, because it's you don't have to be a multi-millionaire to do it. You could be on a rookie contract. You could be on a college NIL deal. You could do anyone can do that right now.
That.
Yeah,
for sure. Speaking of like the different, Jay, you just said about a $700,000 house. So I worked with my buddy Nick. Now he was the strength and conditioning coach for the women's MLS team, the Seattle Reign, and then him and Jody. She was a player at the time. I think she's in San Diego playing now, but. They went in and they bought a couple of different properties when the Reign were actually in Tacoma. There was like 1 or 2 years they were playing at Cheney, and and I don't know their salaries and things like that. I know they're not NBA contracts, though. Like, I'll say that, right?
Yeah.
And so, but these guys, they own 3 different properties in Tacoma, 1 in Port Orchard, and the fact is, all they did was they bought 2-bed, 1-bath houses, like, I don't know, $200,000 to $350,000 depending on the year and the time, and each one of them, besides one, they've added more units to, right? And so they're not here anymore. Nick's in Australia half the time, and then Jody's in San Diego. They still own properties in Tacoma, and he just hit me up last week, for example, to go look at a place on Fawcett. So it's like, I guess my point is like, it doesn't matter the income range either. It's like, and then your story with the VA guy, Jay, it's the same thing. It's just like slowly picking these things up.
Yep.
And for the athletes that actually have a higher income, I mean, they're at an advantage. I mean, they could be doing this at a different scale. And it's just, I mean, yeah, it's that, like I said, that cash flow and that appreciation. So over time. So, I mean, yeah, man, that's my success story right there, because these guys were just like, normal people. I mean, just like they're cool. They're athletes, yeah, but I mean, like they just did it slow, and that's the way to do it sometimes.
Yeah, that's dope. I was just reading a quick little thing that says athletes are increasingly looking beyond traditional investments like real estate and are getting involved in tech startups, franchising, and other business ventures. For example, over the past decade, venture capital investments involving athletes have surged, indicating a broader perspective on wealth generation and management. I feel like where these conversations are being had, and there's also something else that says like, like those who use a financial a financial like manager, or God, what's the word? I'm drawing a blank
Advisor.
right now. It's been a long day. Yeah, financial advisor, have better stability down the road. I mean, that's a pretty well. It does. Maybe it's not obvious. It's not all the way obvious because Mike Vick didn't end up that way. He was using a financial dude, and or accountant, and he didn't end up stable down the road. So,
hire, man.
now he is like he's fine now, I'm sure, but like he had to go through that. And Vick's story is dope because he's actually He's actually putting in time and effort into this conversation. So, and I know because I've been on calls with him, and like it's not me and him, but like. This dude that was working with that, he's pushing that, and Vic is a dope dude, man. That's a real one right there. So shout out to Mike Vick. Jordan, this one's for J Dam, but anyone could answer this. But as someone who's navigated both worlds, how does the mindset differ between managing a career in sports and managing real estate investments, or just like real estate in general? Like you're now working with clients and investors and buyers and sellers. Are there any transferable skills between like managing a sports career and managing real estate?
I think so. I think that just like my mindset in general, I mean, I've always, try to get stuff done and be the best at what I do. And I think that if it's a sport or real estate or literally anything I get put into, that's how I'm going to be. I'm just, competitive nature, and I want to be the best and understand everything. So I think that at least for me, me having, being an athlete in the past I think it transferred a lot in terms of just like, work ethic and learning things, even having connections and me trying to talk to other athletes now, because there's so much things that I didn't understand because it was just like people talk to me only about basketball. So now being on the other side of it and want to be able to help navigate other athletes, whether that be overseas, NBA, NFL, literally anything, and like try to put them on some game. That's really my goal now. Like I have, college guys and, kids in their 20s that come in every day that, just want to talk business, real estate, stocks, crypto, everything. And I feel like when I was in my 20s, at least for me, I didn't have that. There was a guy that introduced me to, stocks and Bitcoin in college, and I didn't know what he was talking about. I thought he was crazy. So now like me going through that type of stuff and, being on the other side of it, it's like, man, if I could go back and give free game and get kids, start thinking about it earlier, it's just going to set everyone up.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like I've been downplaying Shock. Shock, you ain't no slouch on the athletic front. Like I'm acting like you weren't an athlete. I want to let people know like you were a guy too. We all were guys, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to act like you were.
I was a guy
nothing.
in high school, bro. That's about it.
Hold on.
I was that dude in high school.
Hey, bro.
I heard a story about Shock and Hoop. They said after Lodrick and Roderick, Shock was one of the best in the state in 8th grade.
Hey, you want to I'll keep it 100 right now. We beat Lodrick and Roderick in the state championship in AAU in 7th grade. We dominated those fools. We went to national. We placed 17 in the country. But you know what happened to your boy Shock? He didn't grow after 6 feet tall. And he was done. And that's what happened. But man. We used to, Rotary was nothing to us, bro. We used to on Rotary, bro. No. I can go all day about that. Like we did like 2-3 years in a row.
Who was your squad? You was the Ice. Were you Ice Vibe?
No. We were the Air Force. We were this we had Ben Shelton. We had Ben Shelton. We had Ben Hoops. Guys you don't know because we
Ben still hoops.
Oh, Ben's a hooper, but I just like, dude, it's so crazy to me. And then one goes to Kansas, one goes to I don't know where. I'm like USC.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, man.
Kansas,
If I would have been
yep.
6'3", I would have brought WCC, baby.
No, Shock was playing. I remember the reason, like the crazy part about Shock is like, I remember when your name popped and said like, oh, look at this dude. Like we had just opened Abode.
Yeah.
And I think you were the first addition. You and Ian Brody were the first additions, I think, to the office. I think, if I can remember correctly. But I remembered your name. There's only one Shockman, and you played. I remember you played for Kelly at Curtis because I'd never seen your name anywhere else. I was like, that's got to be the same dude. And I just seen it in the paper. It wasn't like I seen you, and I might have seen you at a summer league game and y'all like a warm up or something. And I saw the name on your back or something. Like, I got a photographic memory like that. So like, if I see something, I'm like, oh, I've seen that somewhere. Yeah, anyway, that was funny. So I knew you were a hooper at that time, but I didn't know you played football. You were all area, weren't you?
Sophomore year, baby. But like
you were all area. You were all area.
Yeah.
You were all area football, right?
Yeah, in football I was. Yeah.
Yeah. See,
not hoop, but yeah.
Now, Shock used to.
Why didn't you? Yeah, Shock got hoop game.
No, yeah, I remember when was I playing with you in that Issaquah League? Shock, was I still in like high school or college?
You were like in college, but like coming out of college, yeah. Yeah, that was when Shock was a little. If I can get up and down the court, I can still shoot, but it's a little hard in that full court game,
Do you feel like, so going back to the question, do you feel like that mindset, like being an athlete, has helped you in investing in like having real estate and like dealing with the ups and downs and just navigating the real estate world?
Absolutely, just understanding it. I mean, working through tough situations, and then also knowing like when something bad happens, there's something good comes right after, and I feel like I've had a lot of ups and downs in basketball in general, and I feel like it's like that in not just basketball, it's like that with anything. So definitely in real estate, I mean, there's going to be very, very tough deals. There's going to be some easy ones. You're going to be in a good mood, bad mood. You're going to go through every emotion. So I feel like sports and, the real estate kind of goes hand in hand in terms of mindset and kind of navigating through stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I feel like, and I'm not saying you have to be an athlete to navigate life or professional.
Yeah, not at all, yeah.
But it does help, like especially if you've done it at a high level. Like for example, like I'm still washed up and still play, and that I do that because like I like the camaraderie. I like trying to figure it out with other people. We might have different ways of approaching things, but we're on the same team and got to figure this out and beat that team over there. You know what I mean? And they're young, so we got to figure out like how we gonna do this. Like I think I just thrive off that. And in business, I'm highly competitive and I want to be the best. At everything.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, and I know you guys feel the same way about how you move because it's just. So looking at the broader, like this is more of a broader question, like broader scope, and then we can talk some mess after this. But looking at a broader scope of financial literacy, like what are some common misconceptions that you've encountered among athletes and entertainers, if you have any entertainers in your circles, like when it comes to real estate, like, and do you have to address those, or is it just like they just don't know at all? I'll start with you, Shock.
Yeah, I think like. The biggest misconception, I think, especially with the guys with like a lot of cash, is that they got to pay cash for their deal, right? So like, if you got $1 million to invest, for example, you don't need to buy just $1 million property, one property, right? Or you don't need to buy two properties at $500,000. I mean, you could buy, if you really wanted to, you could buy $4 million properties and put 20% down, right? So, I mean, there's all these different, I think that's one of the biggest things I see too. And going back to like the very beginning is just like running out of cash, right? Is investing it in the right ways, leveraging, just because you got a ton of money, like you don't have to like leverage all your own money. Like you can leverage the bank's money, right? So I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is like you don't need only cash to do it.
Yeah, OPM. Yeah, J Dan, what do you think?
I mean, I agree with that. Is people feeling I have to buy something cash, but I feel like a lot of things when I talk to certain athletes is they just don't actually understand it. They don't understand the process, or they have a hard time even trusting a certain agent because it feels like the agent comes off wrong, or they had some agent do someone they know or them dirty in the past. And I think it's more so like, I don't want to say it's a misconception, but that's literally what they go through. You know, you don't know who's there to really help you and who's just trying to use you. And I think that's one of the biggest things that is tough, because, I mean, there is going to be some agents where it's like athletes flying in town. And it's like, oh, yep, I want to get this deal off quick. And they're not thinking of 5-10 years from now. It's just like, oh, I sold this person the highest possible part of their budget just so I can get my check. That's why I think it's not a misconception because it's out there. So I feel like, I feel like if we could just do a better job at, you know, like walking them through the process and like explaining what the future looks like so they actually understand it, I think that's the best way to do it, because there's just been people that have been in bad situations that they don't understand. And that's outside of real estate too. Like, I've talked to people that put money in investments and they still to this day don't know what their money is in. They just know that they're getting, you know, a small return every year. So I feel like, you know, if you are going to have an advisor and put it into things, at least, you know, do your part in understanding it. And I feel like that's where, you know, we come in and we want to help, though, is, you know, putting them in position to understand it and in a better position in the future, really.
Jay, you said something about the trust factor, you know, and that just reminds me too, like sometimes, and this can be an athlete, this can be the average home buyer, it doesn't matter, but sometimes like the best idea, and this is coming from us realtors, it's not to buy the primary home, right? It's to actually rent, right? Especially with these guys that are always on the move too. And, you know, we have other options that you can invest in real estate. Like maybe it's better to buy that rental instead of a primary. I don't know, but that's why we're here. That's what we're here to advise and help with those situations and basically be, you know, your advice source for that, because sometimes it's not, the $3 million pad is sexy, but like sometimes that, you know, $800,000 duplex is better, you know.
Exactly.
Facts.
Exactly. And when you look at some of like the retired athletes that go on pods now, it's like they sign a $5 million contract, you know, as a rookie thinking it's big, and their first instinct is to buy themselves a $3 million house and then their mom a $1 million house, not realizing on the back end, you're not even getting that full $5 million. So that's what having someone in a position that can explain those situations and, you know, walk them through it. And I think it's important because they're focused on playing their sport, or if they're entertainer, focused on that. So, I mean, if you get put in a position to be in front of someone, it's your job to kind of walk them through and explain the situation, and so they get some understanding.
Yeah, that's a whole podcast in itself, is talking about like when you get that check, what's the first thing that you do, you know? Exactly. Like that's a whole podcast in itself. And it's interesting because like I think realtors are good people to talk to about that because of the way that how you get paid and how it's structured, because you have to manage that in a similar way. And I think that like, you know, there might be, you know, someone that works a 9-to-5 or a salary that might not have to move like that, whereas you guys do. So like, because you've probably been burned. Maybe when you first started getting checks in real estate, you're like, oh yeah, and you might have overspent or didn't put enough away or something. And 100%. So I feel like real estate agents are good people to talk to about
for
that.
Sure. Yeah, no, definitely
because of experience.
Or you put too much in crypto in 2021 when the market was hella good.
It get wrecked.
Voyager shut it down, just ruined people's lives.
That's all of it. I got wrecked too, man. Voyager wrecked.
We
my
back
ass,
though.
man.
We coming back.
Oh, I'm back, bro. Like, you kidding me? I ain't never left. Come on, that's a whole.
Hey, just like everything else, you got to stick shit out, man.
Time in the market, not timing the market, and I think that's a good one for it. I've always remembered that. My guy at Digital Asset News, shout out to Rob. You know, like I feel like time in the market, not timing the market. I listened to that, and even after I got wrecked in the crypto market, I was just like, I stuck through the bear market. I was watching content. Actually, you know what's crazy is like today and now, I'll watch videos when it's down, but when it's up and things are green, I don't even like watching no content on crypto because everyone's having bullish sentiment and saying, oh, Bitcoin's going to 1 million this bull run. I'm like, bro, I can't watch that. Like, nah, I'm just gonna go ahead and see if I can just weather this real quick. I actually like the down cycles more than I like the up cycles. That's crazy. You get conditioned.
Yep,
I'm ready for this bull market, but I can't wait for the next bear market because, I mean, that's where it's made, man. You know.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I know someone that my man sold some ETH, and I was like, "That's cool. Do what you do, because if you're in profit, like take profits. I ain't never gonna be mad at that." But I was like, man, I might want to hold on for just the ETH ETF is coming, like either this week or next week. They're saying next week maybe. You know, and then the Solana ETF is right after that probably. And the Solana one, I think people are going to be really heavy on because like the VCs love Solana. Solana just works. It's fast. It's hard for me to go use.
You gotta
go ahead.
This is crypto related, not real estate. You got to share your rule though, your screenshot rule.
Oh yeah. The screenshot rule. Yeah, if you screenshot your account, you got to sell, man. You got to take profit. Like,
hey, I know that now. I was looking back at some screenshots like
yeah. See, I know you got them. I got them too.
Hey, I remember screenshotting, send them to wifey. You know, a couple months later, how's your stuff doing?
We gotta have that.
You gotta take profit, bro. Shock knows I was sending him my VV portfolio screenshots. I should have sold that joint. I still got them, but
I'm gonna keep it real though. There's nothing the crypto bull market when it's going, that's a hell of a dopamine.
It's
hit,
euphoric.
Man. Like that shit is fun,
man,
like,
for real.
And people have no clue what's about to happen. It's about to be that times 5 this next one, in my opinion.
No, definitely.
Yeah. I got a question for y'all. I might be in the Matrix. I think. Yeah. I got a question for y'all. All right. So this is kind of switching topics a little bit. Who's the best athlete that you've seen here locally in Tacoma, Pierce County area? Who's the best athlete to you that you've seen?
Athlete?
Athlete. It could be football player, basketball player, don't matter. Like who's the person that you looked up to that was like, that's that dude?
Man, I mean, I remember in middle school watching IT in the red 21s. Like that was iconic. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I think that was one of the things where it's like, nah, he's on a different level. Like seeing that, and then but playing against guys like even like Avery and Abdul, like when it was like that fire and ice stuff, like that shit wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. Like,
nah.
Like I remember my sophomore.
I had to coach against it. I would have rather played against him than coached against him.
Bro, I'm at Bellarmine getting picked up full court by Avery as a sophomore.
Man, come on, bro. That wasn't fair.
Nah, yeah.
Shock, who you got?
I'm going to go up to King County, but in my college days, so I was a basketball manager for the men's basketball team, and it was B. Roy hands down, bro. I like that guy was so crafty. Like he was the best player I've ever seen in person. Like up front, like 1,000%. Like not even close.
Yeah.
Like like dude, like seeing him and like how he worked every day, like crazy.
I think he could have been like the crazy part about B. Roy too is he could have been like he would have been a Hall of Famer. Like the way that the pros talk about him, like I'm talking about like Hall of Famers talk about him.
And shit.
Yeah, like they give him his love and props, which is dope. Because I mean, I don't think the young Bulls really know like how cold he really was. They don't know.
Yeah. Like for sure, man. And you know what's crazy? Like, dude, hella like good, dope person too. Like down to
hella
earth,
cool.
like not like big head, like just hella dope. Like he's a good dude.
Yeah, he is.
That whole squad.
Mine would have. What's up?
So that whole squad was called at UW over back then too.
Yeah, they were. Man,
that was the good old days with the UW team, bro. I hope they get back there one day, man. We were running some stuff for a minute, you know. But.
I'm trying to decide what direction I want to go with this because, like, I have like an underground one that like real local heads would know from Peninsula High School. This dude named Tim Lawson. He was crazy. He played football, soccer. Went to UW, played soccer. I think he played soccer at UW. But I'm gonna have to go with my first guy that I seen that was like. That dude to me, and I was in awe, was Mike Dickerson. he played, man, Mike D, when he played at Fairway, I felt like at that time they didn't have like rankings, and our guys got overlooked in Washington, and I felt like he was like one of the best players I'd ever seen in my whole life. And I was just like, how is he not ranked? You know, like he wasn't even ranked. Back then they didn't do that. And then he went on to Arizona and got a chip. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, of course he was that nice, and then went to the pros and spent some time up there. But Mike D was that guy. I remember going to watch him with my friend Sam. I was a freshman. He was a sophomore. We drove. There's all kinds of stories about this night. But we went up to watch Federway in Franklin, and that's when Jason Terry, I think, was a sophomore or junior, and Franklin played at Federal Way against Mike D and them. Man, and that team had squad. They had other cats. D Stone. Shout out to D Stone. Man, there's so many cats that went through Fedway, but Fed had so many hoopers at that time. I mean. But yeah, that team, Decatur had a squad too, Berto, Bergeson, and all them. But that was, Mike D was probably my guy. But Q Wilder also was just, I don't know if I've ever seen it. Well, no, Avery and them. I'd say Avery.
Avery was the most athletic person I've ever seen. Like like him getting off the ground. He probably had like 6 dunks against us. Like
yeah, and he said 6 dunks. I went to a game in Avery as a sophomore at 50 against Mount T, and I was just sitting right there. No one was there. It was like a Tuesday night regular Narrows League game, and this mug went for like 50 as a sophomore. And Abdullah, of course, was getting off too. That was when Fire Ice was kind of born. You know what I mean? Like in terms of the name.
Yeah, that was.
I got to ask you guys a question though. This is kind of hot take here. Mm-hmm. How the hell did Martell Webster and Spencer Haas not win a state championship in the NBA on one team? That state championship game, there was like 36 points scored total.
Yeah, that was crazy. They packed it in and zoned them like hella, I think. Okay, it was kind of whack. You know, I was like, that's all you can really do.
I don't remember what year that was, but I just remember like being baffled by that. I was like,
yeah. That's what like high school hoop is like that. Sometimes it just be nasty. Like for example, like it was nasty when we played when Abdul was a senior, we had a homecoming game. They played us at Stadium, and and Avery had left by that time, so thank God, because they would have drug us if he was still there. So we went ahead and did a jump. We went ahead and did a triangle and 2. It was nasty, but we just junk defensed them, and that helped us stay in the game, and we had a chance to win. Shout out to Johnny Jensen. Johnny Jensen got off that night.
Did you have the shot clock? Because remember when there was no shot clock? Okay, see?
Yeah,
people just be running around in circles.
Abdul senior year, they had all them football players too. Like they had them like Nebraska built linemen. So like that didn't make it no easier playing against them dudes like just that loved their role, hard fouls.
Yeah.
But now once Abdul was gone though, we was cooking Bellarmine once Abdul was gone.
Well, y'all also stacked the deck. You had Mikey come over there. Y'all said, all right, we're just gonna take all of Tacoma and come.
Yeah, we had a squad.
What's your favorite stadium to play in, or like court? I love playing at Bellarmine. I only played them like once there though, but like it was cool because it was.
Man, I like
packed.
It's fun playing at Bellarmine when you winning.
Yeah,
they're on your head. But
I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, Bellarmine was always a fun one, but I think obviously the dome takes it home because when you're a kid, it's like, man, you dream of playing in the dome. I think Showwear Center was a fun one too, but the dome was like, it was different. It was just a different feeling, like walking out, like especially when you're dreaming of it for the past 10 years. So
yeah, my ass never made it to the dome for anything, so I don't know how that goes.
I went my freshman year, and I remember I wasn't playing, but I remember, same thing. So me and John Grobin, shout out to John, we would go out there, we running out there, and we were just having competitions who could shoot it the deepest. Like we was in warm ups getting off, bro. Like it was that was the game for us, was the warm ups. So I was out there casting, doing my thing, and then McIntosh, shout out to Mac, he wanted me to go in the game at like 1 minute or something, and I was like, nah, I'm good. And everybody else went in the game, and I was just a little asshole freshman, man. I was a dick. And I just felt like, because I felt like I should have been playing, you know, I shouldn't have been, but you know how we are. But yeah, Tacoma Dome was definitely. But if I had like that's funny that you asked that, because me and Jay Kane were just talking about this the other day,
I'm on the podcast, right?
like Tuesday on tour. He was like, "What gym?" And I was like, "So I played Stadium Bellarmine's last game in that old gym. So what happened? So it was known that was the last game ever in that gym. So I coached the last game ever in that old Bellarmine gym. It was insane. Like, so you had, like, in the story was, and Jordan was telling me about on his end what that looked like, because he was going to school there and playing. And basically, once school got out at 2:05, like, basically kids went right to the stands and just sat in the stands and got their seat, and were telling people to go order pizza. They had runners to go order pizza. But like, so when we got there for our C team game, stands were already packed.
Out already. Yep.
Stands were already packed all the way. I'm saying there was nowhere to sit. Like, for the C team game, it was the wildest game I've ever coached in terms of the crowd participation, because it was all on top of you. Like, yeah, that was a wild atmosphere, man.
Yeah, I feel like
Crazy.
back in those years, like 09, 2010, 2011 too. It's like all those years, all games, especially rival, used to be packed out. Like, I remember when we used to play like Lincoln, Foss, Bellarmine at home. Like, they would bring in the football bleachers to put at each end, under the hoops too. It used to be just sold out. People standing up.
Yeah, Shock, was Curtis football like that? Like, was it popping like that? Like, what was the big Curtis football game like?
Oh,
that
Bethel,
people
bro. When we played Bethel, it was crazy. Like, you know, like 10,000 people junior year. I remember first game of the season. Bethel's ranked 1.
You said 10,000 people?
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was.
Where at?
At
Lumen
first,
Field?
It was overflowed. It was like they had them all, like, around the whole damn thing. It was crazy, bro.
Damn.
Yeah. Like 10,000 people, because it sat like 3,500 on that one side. It was insane.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Everywhere. Yeah,
that's
dude,
right.
it was insane. And yeah, Bethel by far, man. Just a ton of energy, man. I'll be honest, you know, I love hoop, but there ain't nothing like Friday nights, baby.
Yeah, Friday night football is fun, man.
Yeah.
That is a vibe for sure.
But,
Well, man, let's. I'm gonna get to this last segment, and we're gonna wrap this one up. But we got a little segment called Hot Take that we're gonna finish up with real quick. That's where I asked y'all. Jordan, damn, ain't never done Hot Take, but Shock, I already know you know. So it's a yes or no question, or this or that question. You just gotta answer it, and it's really simple. Are y'all ready?
Yep.
All right. Invest in real estate or Bitcoin? Shock will go first.
oh, bro. You know what? I'm gonna say real estate. Real estate's been good to me, man.
Yeah.
I'm here today with, like, my financial situation because of real estate, so I gotta say real estate.
Yeah, I'd say real estate too. I don't know, Bitcoin's more exciting. Like, just watching it, you know, fluctuate, like getting that joy when it goes up. But real estate's, you know, I think it's better play, safer play right now, and you know.
Yeah. All right, J Dan. Humid heat or dry heat?
I don't know, man. Vegas is hot. I can't breathe anywhere. I'm taking. I'm taking. I don't know. I'll probably take that Vegas heat. I'll take that dry heat. Because humid is different. I'm not trying to just be full blown sweating, but yeah, I'll probably take dry heat.
I already know Shock's answer.
Dry, man. You know, a dry 110 ain't nothing, man.
That's true. Shock, would you rather be too hot or too cold?
Oh, too hot, man. Too hot. I love my cryo at damn performance, though, for about 3.5 minutes, but nah, too hot. Except when I sleep. I need that shit cold, man. I need it real cold.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, I'm taking too cold, easy. Too hot, you can't do nothing. It's just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
when you're cold, you can bundle up, throw covers on, do something. It's too cold, easy.
Yeah, that's how it be. All right, so this one, would you rather play hoop or football, J Dan?
Hoop. Easy one.
So
Shot.
it's going to surprise people. Hoop for me too, man. Hoop basketball was my favorite, man. And it always was. Yeah.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that. All right, favorite athlete of all time, Shot.
Man, I'm going Seattle. I'm going GP, man. GP
Ooh.
was my childhood right there. Just because he talked a lot of shit, and I like that. And yeah, he was just feisty.
Yeah. J-Dam.
Shoot, it's Michael Jordan, easy. I mean, grew up watching him. My parents had Bulls stuff everywhere, put me in Bulls gear, put me in Jordans. Same birthday as him, named after him. So that's the easy one. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know you were named after him. You're named after Jordan. You're named after MJ?
And named after him, same birthday. They planned
Oh,
all that. Yep.
Damn. Okay.
So I almost, so my sister Maddie, she's my sister. So my mom was like, you get to pick the name. So I picked Jordan, which is funny for my sister, because my first sister, because my mom was like, yeah, Jordan works for a girl too. And I was like, yep. And she was like, so if it's a boy, what do you want your brother to be named? I was like, Peyton, but it didn't work out. But so I'm in the same.
Funny you say that. So my two brothers, when I was young, my parents let me help pick the names. So one of my brothers is Alexander Michael. So I named Alex Rodriguez and Michael Jordan, and the other one is Sean Payton, Sean Kemp and Gary Payton.
There you go.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Yeah. So Alex was named after Alex Rodriguez. I would have never known that.
And the middle name for Michael Jordan. So and then Sean Payton.
Interesting. I didn't man. See, I just learned something new.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate y'all jumping on, man. This is not the last podcast we're gonna do together. Obviously, we got some plans for the future, jumping off on maybe on the podcast that we're currently on. But anyway, how do people get in touch with you, Shock? How do people get in touch with you if they want to get to know you or know more, or ask you more questions about investing in real estate and all that?
Best option is at Derrik Shockman on Instagram, and then Summerlin Shock on YouTube.
Okay. J-Dan?
Yep. Instagram, jordandam.homes, or just at jdam23. Both of those on Instagram. Got 2 pages. So shoot me a DM, we connect, chop it up.
Yes, sir. All right. And with that, we're going to wrap up this episode of Inside Abode. Hope y'all enjoyed it. We will be back for more. And with that, I'll see y'all on the next episode. Peace.